Once you've made the decision to start homeschooling, it is amazing how much stuff you start accumulating. And so today's video, we're gonna chat about the stuff and how to organize it. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm a mom to four. I love to homeschool. I also love to read good books, and I love to share both of those things on this channel. And so if you also love those things, please consider subscribing. So this is the last video in the series I've been running on this channel, talking about how to prepare yourself for the upcoming school year. And so I want to talk a little bit more about how to organize all the homeschool stuff. And like I mentioned in the end of the last video, I'm not planning on taking you around the room per se, because it's still not set up from moving, but I'm in the process of doing that. And then I will make a separate video highlighting our homeschool space and room and all the different things. I'm actually in our homeschool room. This is my desk. This is some storage we have. So back to organizing homeschool stuff. The first thing I want to mention is you don't have to have a homeschool room to implement some of the tips that I'm going to talk about today. This works very much so if you have a whole room dedicated, or if you love to homeschool on your table, your couch, outside, wherever. These tips still apply. So the first tip may seem really obvious, but I recommend that you organize with the homeschool day in mind. In other words, accessibility. You need to be able to get the stuff that you need throughout the day. I'm sure we have all experienced the time when you have maybe forgotten to copy a worksheet or a coloring page or something, and you run to the copier, and by the time you get back, everybody has like scattered, and then you're like, no, I just collected you, I'll come back. And it's just so frustrating. And while that can't be avoided, you can't always remember stuff like that, I think having a lot of the stuff you need really nearby would help out. I like to think in kind of terms of like concentric circles, if you will. So like the center circle being the one that you have to have, like you're talking curriculum, you're talking pencils, things like that, has to be as close to the area in which you are homeschooling as possible. So for instance, maybe you are homeschooling at the kitchen table. Maybe you have like a hutch that you keep all of your curriculum and all of your stuff in, that's just right by the table. Or maybe you have one of those rolling carts that I see all over. I don't have one, but I always am thinking of getting one. What I have, and I'll put a picture up here, is a little cabinet, a little white cabinet that sits between the two desks of my older kids. And so it's often where I'll stand and pull stuff out and use the top to kind of hold my teacher's manual as I'm talking or teaching, different things like that. So it's very central, and it has a lot of the important things. So I keep all of their curriculum. I keep all of their folders. So I tear out their different worksheets or different independent work that goes in the folders for each day: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And actually that cabinet is also where I keep all the weekly setup stuff, which I will get to in just a second. So the next circle out for me is more like supply organization. So I have to have a strategy for organizing things, such as books. So I'll put up a couple pictures of where I keep our books. So I have a bin for our morning time books, which currently it's snack time, it's not morning time, but our books that we use for Build Your Library, Torchlight, Bible, things like that, I keep all in this bin that sits by my desk, so it's very accessible. The next picture I have is of our bookshelf, which I have organized to include all of the different curriculums all together. And I have started to use color tabs to label the different curriculum. Because I love literature-based curriculum, I definitely end up with a bunch of books and resources that I need to keep all together, and then I'll label them a different color. And so you can see here I've put up this shelf that includes all of my Build Your Library and Torchlight stuff for ancient history that we are about to start, which I just made a video on that, so I'll link above if you're curious about it. But I keep it all on that shelf, and it's all color-coded, which just helps me when the kids get a hold of some books, then I know where they go, and I know if I'm missing them. The next supply organization tip I have is bins. So in this case, I'm talking things like science, history, art. So they don't necessarily have to be like right at my elbows, like the books and all the curriculum and pencils and stuff, but they have to be all together. And I like to do this mostly either at the beginning of the year, or honestly, I tend to order like science kits and art kits, because I'm just in the stage of life where I can't just be running all over to Hobby Lobby and Walmart and everywhere and collecting all these like bits and bobs for all the different experiments or art projects we have for the upcoming year. I like to put them in storage bins. And so I'll put up a picture here, and I just keep those in our homeschool closet downstairs, and I'll pull them up if it's, say, a science experiment day. then it just sits on our island. Our kitchen is a part of the schoolroom basically, so it's nice to just have it set there and ready, and I can grab what I need and I'm not running downstairs to grab it. So that's keeping my supplies organized. And the last kind of supply thing I like to keep all together so that I'm not searching all over the house for stuff is our morning time bins, which I've made a video about those in particular. So if you want to check out what I do for that, as well as what supplies I have specifically in each of my children's bins, you can look at that video. But it's nice to have that all together as well, so I'm not going downstairs to look for a sticker book or getting the Play-Doh out of the cabinet in the playroom or things like that. It's all contained and it's intended for homeschool. The next tip I have is that it's not just about organizing the kid stuff. You also have to get your stuff in order sometimes. And I feel like that can really help the homeschool day run a lot smoother if I have what I need where I need it. I mean, I already gave the example of making sure you have all your copies ready, which is very helpful. But what I also do is I have kind of my weekend prep for the upcoming school week, and I do that all within that same white cabinet between the two desks of my kids, but it's also right by my desk. And so it's helpful because as I'm going through all the stuff from the previous week and I'm deciding what to keep, what to put in portfolios and whatever, and then I'm loading it back up with the worksheets from the next week, I can pull those student books out from that cabinet and I can just tear things out and put it in there. I mean, some people use like the crate system and things like that, which I think is a wonderful idea. I can't do it. For me, I get too stressed out with the idea of getting behind, having to shuffle all the papers to different weeks. I just like to do things on a weekly basis and it keeps it more relaxed for me. But that's why I like to have all those student workbooks really accessible so I can easily switch over the weekly work. Additionally, it's really important to have a good place to put all the teacher's guides and teacher stuff. And so I'll put up a picture of what I do here. Is because I have such small kids, it's hard for me to keep things low. And so I put it up in a cubby that was a little bit up higher. All of my teacher's guides and or supplies or the worksheets I have already copied for that semester, things like that, I keep all together in my area and the kids can't get to it. My next tip, I don't know if I'm on 3 or 4, is to keep a designated spot for all the curriculum and supplies that are not being used. And that will always happen because you're often holding onto the curriculum for a younger child, or you have bought something because it was on sale. So you have to have a place to put all of that stuff. And you can see here, this is our homeschool supply closet. It's also where I keep a lot of the educational activities and games for the kids. But you can see on these shelves is really where I store stuff that I will need or that I haven't got to yet. And I have to have it here, otherwise, I don't know about you, but my kids will make off with stuff like that. Say I have a model of the skeleton for the human body. If I keep that out, it's just going to get demolished. So I have to have a designated spot for stuff like that, as well as upcoming curriculum. And this definitely can become a serious catch-all spot that needs organization often. But I find that if I do keep it fairly organized, I'm able to spend less because I realize I already own that workbook or something like that. And it also helps me remember what I have so that I remember to use it. I don't think I'm alone in that, purchasing stuff and then forgetting to use it. So if it is kind of in a designated spot that I see often, I have a higher chance of remembering. And so there are a couple other areas of organization in a homeschool, and they could be separate videos. So let me know if you're interested in how I organize, say, all my digital files or paper organization, portfolio organization, things like that. Which I live in a state we don't need a portfolio, but I kind of keep a loose one for my records and 2 in case we ever move or something. So I'm managing all of that and organizing all of that as well, but let me know if you're interested in more specifics about that. So those are my tips for keeping yourself sane and organized. And I would love to know if you have any additional tips. If you have things that really work for you that you're like, man, I can't imagine not doing this, please share below. Help me out, help out anybody else who reads the comments. And thank you so much for all of you who have stuck with this entire series. And I hope it has been useful. I get very excited this time of year to start prepping for the upcoming homeschool year. And I hope you do too. And I hope this was helpful. And if it was, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. And I will see you in the next homeschooling video. All right, have a wonderful day.